Have you ever stood up and felt like your legs just weren't there for you? Maybe you woke up one morning, swung your feet out of bed, and the moment they hit the floor, there it was. That deep, aching stiffness. Or worse, maybe you've been jolted awake at 3 a.m. by a sharp, seizing cramp in your calf that felt like your muscle had turned to stone. You try to stretch it out, walk it off, but the pain lingers. It's frustrating, exhausting, and maybe even a little scary. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. For so many older adults, leg pain, weakness, or balance issues become a daily reality. Suddenly, the things you used to do without thinking, walking across a room, stepping into the shower, climbing the stairs, now feel like calculated risks. And for some, that quiet fear of falling starts to creep in, limiting how much they move, how far they go, or how much confidence they feel in their own body. But here's something most people don't realize. It's not just aging. Yes, getting older brings natural changes, but those wobbly legs, those cramps, that muscle fatigue, they're not just part of the deal. In many cases, they're warning signs. Your body could be running low on key nutrients that help your muscles fire properly, your nerves communicate clearly, and your bones stay strong. Nutritional gaps build slowly over time, and then suddenly they show up in the way you walk. The good news, you can do something about it. In this video, we're breaking down the 7 most essential vitamins and minerals your legs depend on every single day. We'll explore how each one supports muscle function, balance, bone density, and circulation, and more importantly, how you can easily get them back into your routine. By the end, you'll not only understand why your legs have been struggling, but how to start turning things around so you can walk with strength, sleep without cramps, and move through life with more ease. First, let's talk about vitamin D. It might seem like just another item on a long list of health supplements, but in reality, this one simple nutrient plays a starring role in keeping your legs strong, your balance steady, and your body upright and moving confidently. Vitamin D is absolutely essential for muscle function and bone health, and yet it's something we often forget to pay attention to until something starts going wrong. Think about those days when your legs feel just a little weaker, or when getting up from a chair takes more effort than usual. Maybe you've noticed your balance isn't what it used to be. You chalk it up to getting older, and sure, age is a factor, but sometimes it's not age at all. It's your body trying to function without enough vitamin D. This vitamin helps your muscles contract properly. It helps your nervous system send faster, clearer signals so your legs can respond in real time. It even supports the type of muscle fibers that are responsible for quick movements like catching yourself when you stumble or shifting your weight to avoid a fall. Without enough vitamin D, those responses slow down. You don't move as confidently. Your balance becomes uncertain. And slowly but surely your world starts to shrink, not because you want it to, but because your legs can't keep up. The frustrating part is that most people don't even realize this is happening. They don't wake up one morning and say, "I think I'm low on vitamin D." They just feel more tired, more stiff, more cautious. They start skipping that walk around the block. They avoid stairs. They hold the handrail a little tighter. And what started as a silent deficiency ends up stealing the freedom they once took for granted. The reason this happens more as we age is simple. Our skin becomes less efficient at making vitamin D from sunlight. That's a natural part of aging. On top of that, many older adults spend less time outside, whether it's because of health issues, weather, or just lifestyle changes. So even if you think you're getting enough sun, your body might not be producing what it used to. And food sources help, but not always enough. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel, egg yolks, fortified dairy, and cereals, all great options, but still many older adults fall short. That's why supplementation often becomes essential. When people start correcting a vitamin D deficiency, the change isn't always dramatic overnight. But over a few weeks or months, something shifts. Legs feel stronger. Balance improves. Nighttime cramps ease. People move with more ease, more confidence. And most of all, they start to feel like themselves again. Because mobility isn't just about staying active, it's about keeping your independence, your freedom, your sense of control over your own body. And vitamin D doesn't work alone. In fact, its most important job might just be helping your body absorb another mineral that's critical to all of this. One you've probably heard about since you were a kid drinking milk at the breakfast table. That brings us to the second nutrient in our journey to stronger legs, and that's calcium. Now, when we say calcium, most people immediately think of bones, and that's a good place to start. Calcium is the mineral that gives your bones their strength, their density, their resilience. As we get older, our bones naturally lose some of that density. That's normal. But when calcium levels are too low for too long, that loss accelerates. And that's when we start seeing stress, fractures, brittle bones, and the kind of injuries that take months to recover from if they heal fully at all. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Calcium isn't just about bones. It's just as vital for your muscles. Every time you take a step, stand up, or shift your weight, calcium is working behind the scenes to help your muscles contract and release properly. It's part of the electrical system inside your body that makes movement possible. Without enough of it, your legs may feel weak or cramp up unexpectedly. You may notice fatigue setting in earlier in the day, or a heaviness in your legs that wasn't there before. Again, we often chalk that up to age, but often it's a signal that your muscles are missing a key ingredient. One of the smartest things you can do to support your leg strength is to ensure your calcium intake is steady and well balanced. Dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurt are excellent sources, but they're not your only options. Leafy greens like kale and bok choy, fortified plant-based milks, almonds, tofu, even canned sardines with the bones, these all offer rich sources of calcium. And variety matters. Getting calcium from multiple sources helps your body absorb and utilize it more effectively. But remember, calcium doesn't do its job in isolation. It needs vitamin D to be absorbed. Without enough vitamin D, even the most calcium-rich diet won't fully translate into stronger bones or better muscle control. That's why the two nutrients are often mentioned together. They work as a team. One helps with absorption, the other helps with activation. And there's one more important piece here, movement. Yes, physical movement is part of the equation. When you engage in regular weight-bearing activities, things like walking, climbing stairs, or even light resistance training, you send a signal to your bones that says, hey, we still need strength here. That signal helps your body direct calcium into your bones where it belongs. Without that signal, calcium doesn't integrate as effectively. It's not just about how much calcium you get, it's about how well your body knows what to do with it. So when you pair vitamin D and calcium together, supported by regular movement, you're building a foundation that allows your legs to remain strong, responsive, and reliable. And that's more than just a health goal, it's a way to preserve the quality of your everyday life. But even with strong bones and engaged muscles, there's something else that needs to be working well, your nervous system. Because strength doesn't matter if your muscles can't get the right messages from your brain. And that brings us to the third nutrient in this journey, one that's all about communication, coordination, and the invisible pathways that keep your legs connected to your mind. Let's turn our attention to something that affects how your muscles feel more than how they look, vitamin B12. Now, this is one of those nutrients that doesn't get much spotlight unless someone is talking about energy or anemia, but its role in leg strength and stability is actually profound. Think of B12 as the translator between your brain and your body. Without it, messages from your nervous system don't reach your muscles as clearly or as quickly as they should. And that starts to show up in your legs in ways that are hard to ignore. You might feel numbness in your feet or tingling in your calves. You might notice a strange heaviness in your legs, like it takes more mental effort than it should just to lift them off the ground. Some people describe it as walking through water. Every movement feels slow and disconnected. That's because B12 is essential for maintaining the health of the protective, covering around your nerves, something called the myelin sheath. When that covering starts to deteriorate due to low B12, those signals from your brain to your muscles begin to short-circuit. You don't feel as steady. Your reaction times dip. And it becomes harder to trust your own body in motion, and it doesn't stop there. Vitamin B12 also plays a key role in red blood cell production, which directly affects how much oxygen gets delivered to your muscles. If you've ever felt wiped out after climbing a short flight of stairs or unusually fatigued even after a light walk low, B12 could be part of the reason. When oxygen delivery drops, muscles tire faster and they recover slower. The legs especially suffer because they're constantly carrying your body's weight. So if they're not getting enough oxygen, they'll be the first to tell you through exhaustion, weakness, or that rubbery feeling that makes every step feel like an effort. Now here's where things get tricky. Unlike many nutrients, B12 absorption depends heavily on how well your stomach is functioning. The body needs a specific protein called intrinsic factor to absorb B12 from food. But as we age, we naturally produce less of this protein. Add in common conditions like acid reflux or gastritis or medications like antacids or proton pump inhibitors and absorption drops even further. So even if you're eating well, your body might not be able to pull the B12 it needs from your meals. That's why deficiencies in B12 are surprisingly common in older adults, even among those who eat meat, fish, and dairy regularly. And the signs don't always show up dramatically. They sneak in quietly, a little more fatigue, a slight loss of coordination, a longer recovery time after walking or standing. It's easy to mistake these symptoms for just getting older, but often it's your body running on low B12, something that's completely fixable. If your levels are low, dietary changes can help. B12 is found primarily in animal products, lean meats, fish like salmon and tuna eggs, dairy and fortified cereals. But if absorption is an issue, high-dose supplements or B12 injections may be necessary. The good news is that B12 is water-soluble, which means your body gets rid of the excess naturally. So it's generally very safe to supplement, especially under a doctor's guidance. I've seen people go from dragging themselves through the day to walking with energy and clarity again just by correcting a long-ignored B12 deficiency. It doesn't happen overnight, but the transformation is real and often profound. And once you get those nerves firing again, those muscles oxygenated and responsive, it opens the door to reclaiming not just strength but confidence. But of course, even when your nervous system is in top shape, your muscles still need help managing stress and performing consistently. That brings us to the fourth key player in this story. One that's often overlooked but incredibly powerful when it comes to keeping your legs cramp-free, resilient, and ready for whatever your day throws at them. Let's talk about magnesium. Magnesium is like the behind-the-scenes technician that keeps the whole machine running smoothly. It doesn't make the headlines as often as calcium or vitamin D, but it's absolutely vital to how your muscles contract, relax, and recover. Every step you take, every time you flex your leg or shift your weight, magnesium is involved in making that movement happen without stiffness, spasms, or fatigue. One of the most common signs of low magnesium is muscle cramps, especially at night. If you've ever been woken up by a charley horse in your calf that felt like your muscle was tying itself in knots, you know how brutal it can be. That kind of pain doesn't just hurt. It disrupts sleep, causes lingering soreness, and builds anxiety around movement. Many people think they're just dehydrated or overworked, but often it's magnesium deficiency at play. Magnesium also plays a role in calming overactive nerve signals. When your magnesium levels are adequate, your muscles can respond to nerve signals in a more controlled and measured way. But when you're low, those signals can go haywire, leading to twitches, spasms, or unexplained tension in your legs. That's why people who are low in magnesium often feel on edge physically, like their muscles are ready to seize up at any moment. And here's another layer. Magnesium doesn't just help your muscles, it helps your bones too. It works alongside calcium to maintain bone density and strength. In fact, magnesium helps regulate how calcium is transported and used in the body. Without enough magnesium, calcium can actually deposit in the wrong places, like in soft tissues or joints, causing stiffness and even pain. So while calcium builds the structure, magnesium makes sure that structure stays flexible, mobile, and well-functioning. What's unfortunate is how easily magnesium gets depleted. Stress is a huge drain. So are certain medications like diuretics and blood pressure drugs. Diets that rely heavily on processed foods often lack magnesium entirely, and over time, that deficit quietly builds up, robbing you of strength, endurance, and ease of movement without ever announcing itself clearly. But replenishing magnesium is entirely doable, and the results can be felt quickly. Foods rich in magnesium include nuts like almonds and cashews, seeds like pumpkin and sunflower, whole grains, beans, and leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard. And for those who still struggle to get enough through food alone, supplements are a great option. Magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate are two forms that are particularly well absorbed and gentle on the digestive system. Once your magnesium stores are restored, the difference in your legs can be remarkable. That heavy, sluggish feeling starts to lift. Cramping becomes rare instead of routine. Walking feels less like a chore and more like an automatic rhythm your body remembers how to do. And when magnesium starts working in sync with vitamin B12, calcium, and vitamin D, your legs begin to operate not just as muscles and bones, but as a well-orchestrated system. And just when it seems like we've covered everything your muscles need to move with ease, there's still more to explore. Because muscles don't just need control and coordination, they also need hydration, cellular balance, and support with every electrical signal they fire. That takes us to the fifth essential nutrient in this chain, one that's key to preventing those sharp, sudden cramps and keeping every stride smooth and supported. Let's turn our focus to a nutrient that often gets overshadowed, but plays an incredibly important role in how your muscles behave and how your body holds itself together from the inside out, and that's potassium. Most people associate potassium with bananas and cramps, and that's a fair starting point. But the real story is a lot more nuanced and a lot more vital, especially if you've ever had one of those sudden leg cramps that feel like your muscles are twisting into knots out of nowhere. Potassium is the mineral responsible for maintaining the delicate balance of fluids inside and outside your muscle cells. This balance is essential for making sure your muscles contract and relax the way they're supposed to. Without enough potassium, those contractions can become erratic. That's when you start getting those painful Charlie horses, those nighttime cramps that wake you up out of a dead sleep, or those weird spasms that hit when you're not even moving much. But it doesn't stop at cramps. Potassium is also crucial for nerve function. Think of it like a middleman helping electrical signals travel between your brain, your spine, and your muscles. When potassium is in short supply, those signals get weaker. Your reactions slow down. Your muscles don't quite respond the way they should. Maybe you notice your legs trembling after standing for a while, or you feel unsteady when you try to move quickly. That's not just muscle fatigue, that's your nervous system losing its grip because it's short on fuel. And for older adults, the situation can be even more complex. Potassium levels are heavily influenced by medications, especially diuretics, which are commonly prescribed for blood pressure and heart conditions. These medications flush excess fluid from the body, but they also take potassium along with them. Over time, that loss adds up and your muscles start to suffer in ways that aren't immediately obvious until they are. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what your body is telling you. If you're cramping more often, feeling sluggish, or experiencing unexplained weakness, potassium might be the missing piece. Fortunately, potassium is found in a wide variety of delicious and accessible foods. Bananas are great, sure, but sweet potatoes, spinach, avocados, beans, and even oranges are loaded with potassium. A balanced diet that regularly includes these can help keep your muscle function on track and your nerves firing as they should. The key is consistency. Your muscles and nerves rely on a steady supply, not occasional bursts. So working potassium-rich foods into your daily routine makes a real difference over time. But let's not forget muscles and nerves are just one part of the equation. Because even if your movement is fluid and your strength is returning, your bones still need direction. They need to know exactly where to place the calcium your body is absorbing, and that's where our sixth nutrient steps in vitamin K. Now, vitamin K doesn't get nearly the attention it deserves, but it's absolutely essential for maintaining skeletal integrity as we age. Most people know it for its role in blood clotting, but the part that's less talked about and arguably more relevant here is how vitamin K manages calcium. You see, calcium needs guidance. Without vitamin K, your body doesn't always know where to send it. That means calcium can end up in your arteries or soft tissues instead of in your bones where it belongs. And when that happens, you may start to experience stiffness, reduced circulation, and even a higher risk of heart complications due to calcification of the arteries. Vitamin K acts like a traffic controller, directing calcium into the bone matrix and helping maintain bone density. It does this by activating proteins that bind calcium to bone, ensuring that the calcium you've worked so hard to consume and absorb thanks to vitamin D actually ends up doing its job. Without vitamin K, even a well-balanced diet rich in calcium might not protect you from bone loss or fragility fractures. But it gets even better. Emerging research suggests that vitamin K may also support joint flexibility and muscle coordination. That's a big deal when we're talking about mobility and independence. Stiff knees, aching hips, or tight ankles aren't always just due to age. They might be symptoms of calcium getting misdirected. And vitamin K quietly working in the background helps keep everything moving the way it should. So where do you find this stealthy superhero of a vitamin? Leafy greens are the best-known source. Kale, spinach, collard, greens, Swiss chard. Fermented foods like natto, fermented soybeans, certain cheeses, and even egg yolks and liver provide another form of vitamin K called K2, which stays active in the body longer and offers additional bone health benefits. Incorporating these foods into your diet can make a big impact over time. However, there is one important note. If you're taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, you need to talk to your doctor before increasing your vitamin K intake. Because vitamin K is involved in the clotting process, sudden changes in your intake can affect how these medications work. That doesn't mean you can't eat leafy greens. It just means your intake needs to be consistent and monitored. When vitamin K is present and working in harmony with calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D, the entire system becomes smarter. Your bones get stronger, your joints stay more flexible, and your risk of fractures decreases. And that's what this whole journey is about, bringing together these individual nutrients so they can work as a team, reinforcing your legs, your balance, and your ability to move through the world with ease and confidence. And now that we've explored how your body builds strength, absorbs calcium, powers your nerves, controls your muscle rhythms, and directs your minerals where they belong, there's just one last piece to complete the picture. Because even with all these systems firing together, your body still needs one final support to keep energy high, inflammation low, and muscle recovery efficient. Seventh, and just as important as all the others, we arrive at vitamin B6, the final key in this intricate system that helps your legs stay strong, responsive, and pain-free. If everything we've talked about so far has helped build the foundation, strong bones, efficient muscles, clear nerve signals, then B6 is the fine-tuning that brings it all together. It's the nutrient that makes sure your nerves fire smoothly, your muscles recover well, and your body can properly use the proteins you feed it. One of the most fascinating things about vitamin B6 is how quietly essential it is. It's not a flashy nutrient. It doesn't make headlines like vitamin D or calcium, but it's deeply involved in so many behind-the-scenes processes that support strength and coordination. When your B6 levels are in check, your body can metabolize protein effectively. That means the amino acids from your meals are actually being used to repair and rebuild muscle tissue, which is especially important for your legs since they bear the brunt of your body's weight and are constantly working to keep you stable. But B6 isn't just about building tissue. It's also critical for nerve communication. You've probably noticed by now how often nerve health comes up when we talk about mobility, and that's because it's central to everything your legs do. Your muscles only act when your brain tells them to, and that message is sent via your nervous system. Vitamin B6 helps keep those nerve pathways healthy and responsive. Without it, signals can become delayed, weak, or even misfired. That's when you start noticing numbness, tingling, or that strange feeling like your legs aren't quite listening to your brain the way they used to. I've had conversations with people who describe feeling disconnected from their own legs, not because they've lost strength, but because their movements feel uncertain, like their body isn't reacting as quickly as they remember. More often than not, this isn't just getting older, it's a nutritional gap, and B6 is often part of it. There's also the inflammation factor. Vitamin B6 helps regulate the body's inflammatory response, which is incredibly useful if you're someone who deals with chronic soreness, stiffness after walking, or slow muscle recovery. When B6 is low, your body may struggle to manage inflammation efficiently, which leads to longer recovery times and more lingering discomfort. But when it's present in the right amounts, it helps your muscles stay flexible, your joints feel looser, and your energy return faster after activity. And just like with the other nutrients, it matters where you get it from. Vitamin B6 is found in a range of everyday foods: chicken, turkey, salmon, tuna, bananas, potatoes, and fortified cereals. All pack a decent punch. These foods are easy to incorporate into most diets, and when they show up consistently in your meals, they help maintain a healthy baseline. That steady supply supports both your nervous system and your muscular system, allowing your body to move and react with clarity and control. In some cases, especially if someone has digestive issues or other absorption problems, supplements might be necessary to reach optimal B6 levels. But just like with everything else, it's not about flooding your body. It's about balance. When B6 works in harmony with the other nutrients we've covered, vitamin D, calcium, B12, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin K, it helps complete the puzzle. It's the closing note in the symphony, the final brushstroke that brings the full picture into focus. Because in the end, strong legs aren't built from any one vitamin alone. They're the result of a carefully balanced system: muscles that fire when they should, bones that support your weight, nerves that respond quickly, and nutrients that fuel every part of that process from the inside out. When you give your body the right tools, it doesn't just perform better. It feels better, it supports you better, and you feel more like yourself again, steady, capable, and in control with every step. So now you know strong legs don't come from sheer willpower alone. They're built from the inside out, supported by a team of silent helpers, 7 essential nutrients working together to restore balance, prevent cramps, strengthen bones and power every step you take. It's not about being young again, it's about giving your body the tools it needs to keep moving with confidence. And here's the best part: this isn't out of reach. This isn't about magic pills or expensive programs. It's about choices. Daily choices. It's about paying attention to what your body has been quietly asking for all this time. Maybe for you, that starts with a few more greens on the plate, a new supplement, or a visit to the doctor to get your levels checked. Whatever it is, know this: it's not too late. You can feel stronger. You can move better. You can sleep more peacefully and stand up without second-guessing your own footing. Picture this: waking up without pain, walking across your living room without hesitation, taking the stairs without holding the railing, sleeping through the night without cramps stealing your rest. That version of you, it's possible. And it starts with giving your body what it needs to support your legs and your life. If this video helped you hit that like button, it lets us know we're making a difference. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss more health insights like this. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Have leg cramps been an issue for you? What are you planning to try next? Your story could help someone else too. Thanks for watching, and let's keep moving forward, one strong, confident step at a time.